my name is Kira, and here's the presentation on how the sexualization of Queen Tera and the Jewel of 7 Stars exemplifies Victorian anxieties about gender roles. So my argument is that in the Jewel of 7 Stars, the sexualization of the fictional mummy Queen Tera represents Victorian anxieties about powerful women and shifting gender roles. In ancient Egypt, queens were seen as having equal power to kings and have had the masculine traits to emphasize their authority and be king-like. This is an exact opposition to the hypersexualized portrayal of Queen Tera in the novel, which reflects the ideals Victorian men imposed on them in the time. Additionally, the novel's fascination with preserving beauty through mummification underscores how Victorians modified and romanticized ancient Egypt. These elements reveal how Victorian culture reinterpreted Egyptian queens to fit their own societal narratives. So first I want to talk about how Queen Tera was described in Jewel, and I feel like these 2 quotes really exemplify that. The first quote stating, "It was not like death at all. It was like a statue carved in ivory by hand of Praxiteles." And the second quote being, "We all stood awed at the beauty of the figure, which, save for the face cloth, now lay completely nude before us." So the first quote really exemplifies how she is seen as an artwork, something that isn't even like being able to be accessed, isn't real. She's not a real woman. She's something that's far off and far removed from humanity. And the second one is just, saying how they awed at the beauty of her nude body. So they're really just sexualizing Queen Tera in this moment. So next I'm going to talk about the male versus female gaze of Queen Tera. So in the book, there are 2 different gazes that are seen of Queen Tera. One by Margaret, who is the female gaze in the story, and she sees a woman who deserves respect in death. While Dr. Trelawney and Malcolm instead see a piece of art in a glorified nude body. They don't see someone who was once living, breathing, and human before becoming a mummy. So Margaret's remarks about seeing Queen Tera, I feel like these 3 quotes really, exemplify what she was thinking at the time. So the first quote says, "Father, you are not going to unswathe her, all you men and in the glare of light? But why not, my dear? Just think, Father, a woman, all alone in such a way, in such a place. Oh, it's cruel, cruel." And then here she's talking about how she's not just some body to be looked at. She is a woman. She deserves respect, and she would not want to be shown all free, all free and forward in front of these men in real life. So when she was alive, and so she doesn't want it the same in death. And I feel like Margaret really knows that because she says sex is not a matter of years. A woman is a woman if she's been dead 5,000 centuries. So even after death, a woman is still a woman. And lastly, with womanly impulse, with mouth droop with pity, with eyes that flash with anger and cheeks that flame, Margaret threw over the body the beautiful robe which lay across her arm. Only the face was then to be seen. Now here Margaret covers up her body. She understands that Queen Tera will want her own bodily autonomy, even though she could not say so at the time. While Dr. Trelawney's and Malcolm's view of the Queen were completely different, they say she seems to look horrible and partly concealed than at any other time. So when the body is not shown to be a sexual desire to them, then she is ugly, she is unwanted. He also talks about how women didn't have rights or lady doctors in ancient Egypt. However, even in the Victorian period, they still did not have as much rights as they should have been had. And they felt a rush of shame sweep over them when they unclothed her, which is them deep inside knowing that it should not be right to just, unclothe a woman like that, dead or alive. And in ancient times, Egyptian queens were actually seen as very masculine. They had to sport beards and engage in violence of warfare. That's because that's what kingship meant. They were not this sexual being. They were actual leaders and queens. They also could be both angrily and motherly at the same time. So the views of Queen Tera from Victorian cultural identities, basically, in Jewel of 7 Stars, Queen Tera is always described for her beauty and often sexualized by men viewing her. The only time she is seen as human is being complete with the feelings and dreams to which she is looked upon by a female. This demonstrates how the Victorians only saw women as sexual objects for their desire. They only wanted them to cook and bear children and serve the men in their life, not to have feelings of their own. Even when Mr. Trelawney implies that there is lady doctors and women's rights in this era, this was not accurate for what most men at the time thought of women. They could still not have as many rights as they should have been able to have. This also demonstrates how when women speak up and try to make a change, demand their respect, men do not care. In conclusion, the sexualization of Queen Tera and the Jewel of Seven Stars reveals the struggle the Victorians in the 19th century had changing generals, imperialism, and making ancient Egypt a commodity to benefit them. Through this analysis, we can see how the Jewel of Seven Stars can be used as a lens to view how men and women saw each other in the Victorian era. Thank you so much for watching, and here's my bibliography. Thank you.